Welcome to the Stay Focused podcast,
where we explore the highs and lows and everything in between of your favorite business owners.
We're here because your story matters, so stay focused.
Do you hear this? This is different. This is not what Nashville is playing. Not letting anybody tell me what my vision is.
You're like, I'm going to make myself be the radio person.
I feel like you guys are bad for music.
Welcome to episode 1
of Stay Focused.
Woo.
Is this going to be, this is your most embarrassing moment. You're witnessing it right now.
Today we're going to be talking to JR Hayes, who is the station manager, not Aaron, who's pointing to himself right now.
I'm going to be sitting on the couch interjecting throughout.
That's true. He's the station manager at Red Dirt Rebel 107.7, and we're just going to be asking him about his whole journey getting to be a radio station guy. I don't know what the word for that is. Radio station guru.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to make sure to say that to him.
He is the king of radio.
Yeah. Even though none of us listen to country music.
We are just so excited to get to know JR and who he is and what he does and why he does what he does.
Hey, it's JR. Stay focused. I had to read this line.
JR?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
Thank you for being here. Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 6'7". I weigh too much. I run a radio station here in Lubbock called the Red Dirt Rebel. I'm also on the radio in Abilene and College Station. I do TV voiceovers for San Antonio, and I stay pretty busy. Got a cat. It's a life I live.
Definitely keeps you busy.
What's your cat's name?
Cookie.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I had a cat named Chicken. Sadly, she passed away a little over a year ago.
Aw, Chicken.
She was more famous than I was. The true story is I had a Facebook page made for her, and I went on there one day and it goes, 300 of your friends like this page. And it had like 400 people who liked the page. So there was at least 100 other people who liked the cat, but didn't like me enough to follow me.
Fair.
So that was still disappointing. Yeah.
And now you're getting paid to be funny on Facebook too. I saw.
Yeah. Paid is an asterisk should be put on that. The first month I did it, I got like $150. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to get an extra $150. And then the next month it was like, here's $14. I was like, oh, okay. All right, I get it.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so I run a radio station. We focus on red dirt music. I've been in that scene since 2008. Involved in the red dirt scene in some ways. A lot of fun relationships and nights I don't really remember things that happened. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
Tell me about Red Dirt. You said Red Dirt music. Educate me on that.
Red Dirt music is kind of a wide umbrella. It goes from anything from blues of like a Zach Wilkerson or Eric Willis to straight up hardcore country that Cody Johnson came up under the umbrella of, Randall King, to the hard rock of stuff where your Austin Meads, your Co Wetzels, your Treaty Oak Revivals. There's such a wide umbrella. Really, the only maintaining thing is that it doesn't sound as overproduced as Nashville stuff comes out. It originates somewhat from the area, the region, which is always growing day by day. But Texas, Oklahoma, kind of the foundation point to that. There are people who were contributing to it outside of it these days. A lot of stuff from Kentucky, West Virginia, Colorado. There's stuff up in Kansas, Louisiana, all that stuff. But really, I think it's the intention behind the thing. And I always look for touring. All of our artists don't make their money on record sales. 99.9% of them don't. They do it by getting out playing shows. They're at the bars trying to sell those out, and that's where they make their living, is the road. So that would be what I consider Red Dirt stuff.
Do you take credit for Lil Nas X?
Who? That's the Billy Ray Old Town Road guy.
Yeah.
Okay. If you start asking me questions that are like outside of genre, I'm gonna look real stupid. I am gonna look real bad.
So this is the only
Wanted
genre
to
you
be
know.
country.
It's not the only genre I know.
Have you ever heard of pop?
I have.
Okay.
I would be considered
Okay.
what you would call Swiftie adjacent. Like
Okay.
I find her brilliant. She's an amazing songwriter, amazing business person. And I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so happy to welcome her into that community. There are all these people who are butthurt and upset about, like, oh, they show her. She has no control over that, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just happy she's bringing along other people. I've lived around the country, and I've been a Chiefs fan in Northern California where the Raiders were at that point, and I've been on my own as a Chiefs fan for so
Die
many
hard.
years.
Wow.
And when I moved back to Lubbock in 2017, Patrick Mahomes had just gotten to the Chiefs. So the city of Lubbock was embracing the Kansas City Chiefs as kind of like Team B besides the Cowboys, really. And so they got to see the games here. I'm all for it. I'm so excited to not just be on my own.
Yeah.
I used to have to go to, the one of the bars in town that sells Wild Wings, and there would be one other Chiefs fan there, and he and I knew each other. His name is Corey. Like, he has a tattoo. We said hi to each other every game.
You were the community.
We were the community. It was me and Corey. That was it. And so now there's other people, and there's people walking around just wearing
So
Chiefs stuff.
exciting.
It's normal.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, so it's good that you're not bitter that you were like, I liked this before it was cool.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm bitter as hell.
The
I'm always bitter. Just
The original.
not about
Good.
that.
Okay, okay.
I've been on my own so long in my fandom of the Chiefs for living around the country. It's just nice to be a part of feel like I'm at home a little bit back home in Kansas. So
You're
But you
not
have to let
a
everyone-
nobody anymore.
I'm not, just riding solo on the trip.
But you have to let them all know you were first.
Yeah.
I let them know I'm from Kansas. So I was born and raised in Kansas. So me saying that, I immediately do follow up with, I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm from Kansas.
that's
like
valid.
to point out the fact that this isn't just I love Patrick Mahomes like anybody else, but this is not just because I live in Lubbock and I like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Go for it.
have you always been into red dirt? Was this something that happened
So
before the radio station?
I'll tell you the first time I remember even hearing about Red Dirt. I was in the Army, stationed at Fort Hood, which is called something else now, and I don't know the name of it. I apologize. But and I was listening to a program. I had a girlfriend at the time who lived in Florida, and they had a program called After Midnight. And it was a nationally syndicated thing, and she could listen to it at the same time I could listen to it. And in between the commercials, if they didn't have commercials to sell, they would do what they call fill songs. This is like just a thing that goes in there instead of a commercial for the approximate amount of time. Anyhow, they played Kevin Fowler's 100% Texan as a fill song. And I remember asking her, do you hear this? And she goes, no, I hear a commercial. And I said, I don't know what this is. This is different. This is not what Nashville is playing. And at that time, I just thought it was a regional artist that was happening. And I had no clue there was a whole scene. I didn't find out that until I moved to San Angelo back in 2007, that there was a whole community of this happening. And I got involved in every way I could.
That's awesome.
So you said you started in this scene in 2008. Is that radio that you started in 2008?
No, radio, I started 19 years ago, 20.
Wow.
It's coming up on 20 this next year.
Wow.
I started in Chico, California, where I wasn't going to college. I had decided that I was not doing myself any service by racking up bills and doing anything. So I was, I lied and I went and stole internship papers got internship papers from the school I wasn't going to. And I went to my favorite radio station and faked an internship.
That's incredible.
One of the DJs even moved in with me, didn't pay any rent. I remember you, Sean. And then moved to Southern California, leaving me high and dry. But I ended up getting hired
Wow.
After my internship was over. All of my eggs in one basket sort of situation. I got my very first job in radio. And so I started doing it there. That's where I got to know, Aaron Rodgers and all that stuff. So
You have a voice for radio.
this is accident. This is cigarettes and
meant
booze.
to be.
This is
You
cigarettes
didn't-
and booze. I earned this. This is a bought and paid for just as much as this is bought and paid for with cheeseburgers. This is
But you
just
had to fit
earned.
in. You're like, I'm going to make myself be the radio person.
I don't know. I wanted to be on the radio since I was 9 years old.
That's awesome.
I was a little kid and I annoyed a Christian radio station in Emporia, Kansas into letting me do stuff for them. I would erase tapes. That's the time of my life, or the world that was in. I would erase tapes and carts and all that other fun stuff. And they would let me record fake radio breaks and every once in a while talk on the radio. So that was when I knew I was kind of hooked.
Why were you so into it?
So you ever hear those like radio serials? You know what a radio serial?
Tell us what it is, and we'll tell you.
But-
Yes or no.
you know, like It's a Wonderful Life is a movie, but
Yeah.
they did the radio play beforehand.
Okay.
So
Oh, yeah.
they used to act him out with all the Foley artists with making noises, acting like people walking across, and they're all just, yeah. So this station, this Christian radio station that I listened to when I was a kid because my mom wouldn't let us listen to popular music, they would do these things on Sunday nights where it's like people coming to God and like the radio play of them being bad people and then now all of a sudden they're good people again. But they did the whole thing and I loved the storytelling they could do just through one medium. And there was something that just captured me about that. And even though I don't do that now, I still just love a good story. And I consider myself kind of a storyteller of some kind. I try and focus mine on the funnier kind of side, the positive side of stuff versus anything negative. But yeah,
So do you want to let me come in there and do one of those little plays?
do the radio plays. I
Yeah.
have no idea how to produce one, so we could start.
Okay.
Just make up I never got to do one. I do voice stuff because I lucked into the voice doing what it does, but I never got to do like really voice acting and play and that kind of thing. I would love to do that.
I think we should do it.
Okay.
You want to make one?
No.
You don't want to do it at all?
No.
It'd be fun.
Great.
You could
I
help
will
with-
support you guys on the sidelines.
You could help us with all of the Foley art. It's really just about improvising anyway.
You're in charge of funding.
Oh, there you go.
I will get y'all's name out there
Yeah.
like you would not believe,
Okay.
but I will do nothing else.
Okay.
Besides
We're gonna have to
cheering
come up with a
on.
good concept here.
Yeah, like a script or
Y'all
something.
can
Let
do
me
it.
know. Shout at me.
Okay, since the age of 9, and all these years later, you've had to have some really high highs and some really low lows. So let's talk about that.
What do you want, the highs or the lows?
Let's, you know what? Let's start.
I
with
was homeless
negative
at one
first.
point doing this,
Wow.
so,
Let's.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's. What was that like?
I've done radio in California. My radio career goes California, Topeka, Kansas, Boulder, Colorado, San Angelo, Texas, Valdosta, Georgia, San Angelo, Texas, Lubbock, Texas, College Station, Texas, Lubbock, Texas. That's where I've moved all of those places and said all those different call letters. But in San Angelo, I'd gotten fired at a radio station, and I couldn't afford rent anymore. I couldn't afford anything anymore, and so I got evicted. And luckily, my buddy's dad owned my car note. It was a buy here, pay here lot they did in San Angelo. And so I would basically go there and work for free, changing oil, doing whatever I could. And days that I wasn't doing that, I would go do the day labor stuff. By the way, if you ever want to feel really pointless in your life, get hired to go pick up trash at the dump in San Angelo, Texas, where trash is supposed to be.
Wow.
We would get paid to do that. So I spent a lot of nights sleeping in my Jeep that didn't have the back panels in the middle of winter. And eventually friends helped me get into crash on a futon. And that was not ideal. But I spent my 30th birthday with Granger Smith, who's a guy who just retired from music, but he's still doing ministry stuff on the road. he called me on my birthday going, "Hey man, happy birthday." I was like, "Hey, thank you." My phone was not ringing a lot at that point. And he goes, "Hey, we're playing over here tonight. You should come out." And I was like, "Man, I have like $5. And I'm staying on a college kid's futon right now. It would be really disrespectful, I think, to go spend that $5 to get hammered." And he goes, "Oh, no, you're in on me. I'll have you drink on the band beer all night." I was like, "I'm not in radio right now, right?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were friends." And that was a real needed moment for me right there, because I was having a real rough time. And so I went out there, sat in front of the stage. He stopped every other song, made someone buy me a shot before he went on for my birthday, and I had a good night. And that kind of motivated me to figure out a way out of the situation I was in. So, but yeah, I was homeless there for a while.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does not get lower than that. And you stayed in the industry because this is your career, this is your passion. Did anything else interest you in those times, or you're like, no, this is what I've got to do?
I took a break. I was out for about a year, and I ended up working a call center and doing stuff for probably shouldn't say the name, a credit card company. Yeah, you don't know which one. For a credit card company, doing like different levels of service on all that stuff. And I realized at some point I was kind of hiding from my real life doing that stuff. I wasn't making enough to do anything more than live with a roommate or advance my life. I wasn't doing that. So I started looking. This time I was going to be very purposeful about what I was trying to do. I wanted to... before I was doing like shotgun approach to putting my applications into radio stations. Like any job that had an opening I put in. This time I was more purposeful, and I ended up at a station here in Lubbock that was more of a mainstream station, but they had Waylon Jennings had been on that radio station back in the day, and that meant something to me because I grew up loving country music and the old stories and everything else. So I got that job and moved on up, and life has been getting better year by year since then.
Good.
Yeah.
What year was that?
That was 2011.
Okay.
I moved to Lubbock, yeah.
To Lubbock.
April
and then you left,
5th.
though, again. I heard in your
Yeah.
back and forth. So you left, and so what brought you back?
Well, I wanted to be on mornings. I wanted a chance, and there wasn't that opportunity where I was at. There was already a well built-in crew. It just wasn't going to be a thing. So I took another opportunity to be more Texas-focused stuff down at a station in College Station, and I had been there for about 2 years, but I was having to deliver pizza on the side. I wasn't really making ends meet. So I actually got a call and said, "Hey, how would you feel about coming back to Lubbock and running the Radio Rebel?" And I was like, I would be open to having that conversation. And so we kind of hammered things out, honestly, in about a 20-minute phone call, hammered things out. I filled out my contract down there, so I had to stay for another 3 months before I was able to move back. But I was kind of doing things from my living room for Lubbock, and then would go to work and do stuff in College Station, and that was my life for about 3 months.
Wow. So when it comes to your segment, who creates and do you come up with what you're going to talk about? Does someone do it for you?
I see what you mean. Like
why
we
is
have
the
kind of a
word
thing called a
gone?
show map.
Okay.
So we know where we talk each time
Okay.
during our show. So I have 3 points each hour, with the exception of 9 o'clock hour. I have 2. 3 points each hour where we talk and do stuff. So I have in my head, it helps that I wake up at 3 in the morning to do my other 2 markets that I do stuff for. So I'm able to look through all of the prep, see the news of the day, and I can, while I'm doing those other stations, I'm making the show map in my head of like, that'll be what I talk about at this point in the morning. That'll be what I talk about here. But it's all really collaborative as well. My co-host, Roberta, who does the morning show with me, I see where the morning's going with her and I in conversation. She may have something on her mind that's way more interesting than the topic that I had previously put into that slot. So I may shift and take that and go there. We do our show a little bit differently than some other morning shows do. I always took the approach of here as kind of a podcast, but a more restricted to a certain, like, let's have fun, let the conversation play out to what it is. And then when it's not interesting anymore, we kick and we go to music or we go to commercials and we get the show moving. And that said, we also kind of have a certain timeline in our head too. I want to make sure the people that listen for the music are not upset because we're going too far and too long. So it's trying to find that happy balance. But the radio rule is one topic per break. So if you ever tune into a random radio station and they say about one thing, but they don't follow up on what other stuff they could, it's because their consultants literally tell them not to. I think radio has changed in a way that it can change in a way that you are following the line of where people are getting other media. And so I've tried to follow that in both the music selection and in the conversation topics we have on air, letting stuff flow, the river of things. It can be how conversations are versus such a focused and produced feel to it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Do I sound like a professional?
You do.
Okay, good.
I don't think you would have needed to say that you're on the radio. Like,
we know. Okay,
people listening can hear it.
Like, so I can only imagine that this career has taken you everywhere, and you've gotten to meet multiple fun people. Have had people on your show. Who is I'm not gonna say like worst person you've ever met. So we'll say, who is the most exciting person, the most interesting person?
I wanted to get into a fight with Chris Cagle, but that was back in his heyday. But I don't even know. You guys are both looking at me blankly, like, no idea who that is. Okay, that's fair.
Don't know.
As far as in my scene,
Taylor Swift.
No, I never got to meet her. Never got to meet her.
You still can. It's not too late.
I mean, so what's weird is the 6 degrees of separation. I have a buddy who's very good friends with Patrick Mahomes. I've never met Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
But that also puts me to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So I'm 3 degrees away from Taylor Swift.
Wow.
Yeah, because he was in the same.
There.
Well, he was in the same box as Taylor Swift, that one where they showed all that stuff. He and his wife were in that.
FaceTime you? Come on.
I know. No, he's not that good of a friend. It's one of those guys where we text like 3 times a year kind of a thing. Yeah. But as far as in my scene, I've been happy to be a part of, be along with the ride on some of great artists who are selling out stadiums and stuff. Co Wetzel, South Hall, Reed South Hall Band. They're now called South Hall. I'm gonna forget people, but I've stood out on the back porch of the Blue Light playing the ring toss game with Evan Felker of Turnpike Troubadours, and Austin Meade's doing big things. There's Shane Smith and the Saints. They've had a nuclear moment in the past couple of years, and now they're headlining a Vegas show. They just, I don't know when this releases, but last night in downtown Vegas, they played Fremont Street to a sold out huge crowd. It was crazy. So
wow.
I almost was their tour manager several years ago,
how fun.
and now seeing them do really great stuff, I'm just super excited that I get to be
a part.
I don't know what, I wouldn't say a part. I feel bad trying to like take ownership when I'm proud of you. That to me feels like I'm taking ownership of someone's success. Like, look what you did. Good job, kid. That's gross. I'm just like, I'm happy for you. You guys, they've worked so hard. There's an up-and-coming band called Treaty Oak Revival. We happen to be the first to ever play them on the radio. We've gotten to say that with a few bands. And now our relationship has grown over that, and they're doing big things. They're off doing much bigger shows, and they're going to be crazy big. I think they could be one of the bands that change Red Dirt and mainstream country for the better.
I want to go back to the guy that you wanted to fight.
Yes. Yeah. Chris Cagle.
Why?
Do you not remember that song that Chicks Dig It? Chicks Dig It. Oh, God, I'm so old.
Well, we also don't.
We don't listen to country music.
Listen to country.
So surprise.
How do you know about me at all?
Look, let's talk about Flatland.
Okay, Flatland. Yeah, of course. I was at their very first show they ever did.
So you are the mystery guy that got creative Flatland. Did you know that?
Did I get you Flatland?
You did. They name dropped you.
Really?
Mr. Corey.
Oh, very cool.
Corey.
Wait, you were
came-
talking about Corey, the one who was the same Kansas City Chiefs fan?
Not the same guy.
Okay.
Wow, we know
Not that many
Weirdly,
connections.
more than one Corey, but yeah. Okay.
So he ended up calling us and saying, hey, we're rebranding from Littlefield or Celebrate Littlefield to Flatland. Can you guys do it all for us? And we're like, yes. We were so excited.
Yeah.
It's something we hadn't done before, like a whole rebrand to the extent of what we were doing. And we're like, Corey, this was so fun, so awesome. Who mentioned you to, or mentioned us to you? And he's like, JR.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, great. How does JR know about creative?
I had looked up, people that I had friends who worked around the industry, and I'd heard of a couple places and friends that do this stuff, and I was like, I've heard good things about them.
That's
so
awesome.
there's a place to reach out to.
Yeah.
At first, I thought you were talking about Flatland Cavalry, which is a band that started here in Lubbock.
There's
I was
so
at
many
their very
things
first
around
show.
here called Flatland.
That's true.
We're in the Flatlands.
Yes, I understand. I was like,
Aaron
This episode is sponsored
has
by
a-
Flatland.
by fellow Americans.
just Flatland. It's just brought to you by Flatland.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you which one.
Welcome to Lubbock, Texas.
the
You can watch your dog
Flatland-
run away for 3 days.
Flatland podcast. That's who
There
this
you
is
go.
sponsored by.
Nothing
Anyways,
else. I was going to
Aaron
be
has a band, so that's fun. If you ever want to,
You're in a
feature
band?
anybody.
Yeah.
Have I heard of you?
I don't know. Fellow American. We're local.
Okay.
We're not country.
Fellow American. It sounds like the drinking game they do on New Girl.
I don't
yeah,
watch
remember
that.
Yeah, My Fellow American. I think it's.
I wish we knew all the references that you were making.
I know.
Do you guys do
I'm
things?
over here. I know.
I have kids,
You have kids.
and she has a husband.
Okay.
That's
And
it.
a
I have a cat.
Okay.
But
What's
I'm
your cat's
from-
name?
His name is Butler, but we call
Butler.
him Buddy.
Oh,
But I'm
Oh,
from
I
New
like
Mexico,
Butler
so
way more.
I like Butler way better. You're from New Mexico. Sucks
so
to suck.
basically everything that happens here is just like I don't know what any of you are talking
It's
about
a
ever.
whole new
You
world
live
for
here
her.
though, right?
Yeah,
You didn't just
I've-
like fly in for this. I hope.
I've lived here for 5 years,
Okay.
and I still am not really up with the times.
All right.
New Mexico's kind of like 30 years in the past.
Yeah, I've heard
At
it's like
all
a third world
times.
country.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like
I'm
it's like
from,
if
like-
Belize was a state.
And I'm from like the smallest town, not the smallest town. If anyone from New Mexico is
close.
watching this, they're
What
gonna
is
be
the
like,
town?
it's not the smallest. Las Vegas.
As far as I knew, that was a pretty big town, but that's a different one. How many Las Vegas
New
are
Mexico.
there?
There's 3. There's one in Alaska. One in
You know they did that just to be like,
Just
hey,
to mess with people.
let's do it that.
Hey, but
let's-
the one in New Mexico was the first one.
Okay.
Like Billy the Kid
It's weird
and
that
all
you're
those
taking
outlaws.
that much pride in that because it's not the best one.
Well, I know that, but everyone always says you can't say that we stole it
Yeah.
just because we wanted to be cool.
Yeah. If I remember right, Las Vegas, where it's at, is not where Las Vegas, the real Las Vegas, and I say the real Las Vegas with full intention, is not where it's at now. It's like where Lubbock didn't start where it is now. It used to be out in Ransom Canyon, and they moved it.
How do you move a town?
And leave half
it
the
wasn't
town
like
there
this
still.
big, and we all just like were like, "Hey guys, move 30 miles west."
We'll just take
it was
Bikini
like
Bottom.
it was like 4 buildings, and they just go, "Hey," and they gave it the rest out to Ransom Canyon or something.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should have
Am I
stayed
teaching
out
you
there.
stuff you don't know about this town?
Well,
Where are you from?
yes.
I'm also not from here.
Where are you from?
I'm from Phoenix.
You're from Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's only one of those.
Yeah, I've been there.
It's a really hot place.
It's very uncomfortable.
Stunning though.
It's
It's,
hot
beautiful.
here.
You have to go in the wintertime. If you go in the summertime, that's on you.
There are places
you know?
that are hotter than here.
Phoenix.
Yeah,
I had never experienced triple
It's
digits
the
before I moved
real
You-
desert.
here in my whole life.
you're from New Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Where have you been hiding? Is Las Vegas up by like Rio
in the
Dosa or something?
mountains.
Oh, okay.
Like very bottom of the Rockies.
This is now a geographical podcast.
Like how did we get here?
So we're not fighting someone. Now here we are
Phoenix
in
is the most
mountains.
uncomfortable place. It's
But most beautiful place.
No.
No.
It is.
So
What is
sorry.
what is beautiful about Phoenix is outside of Phoenix. Like, the most beautiful thing about Phoenix is you're looking outside and you see the other stuff. Nothing in it is good. I realize I'm covering camera.
about-
Sorry.
Eden.
We're talking about structures and things like that. And by the way, she lives here now. She's just she's along with the rest of us flatlanders.
Flatland.
We
Yeah.
should move.
We should move. We've tried.
At least there's like some kind of topography.
This can be a traveling podcast. We'll just,
Yeah.
we'll just wrap.
Anyway,
Oh boy.
let's get back to what do you
You've
do?
done really good.
What do I do? Yeah,
What do you do for a living?
I essentially make fun of myself. I'm a dork for a living, and then I have to have this weird thing at 10 o'clock and turn that off and turn into a professional at 10. And so then I become the manager of the station and have to decide the programming stuff. And I also have some sales clients that I have to pay attention to them and make sure they're being serviced. And then I got to make sure my employees are all good and they have the information they need to succeed. So that's essentially where all
It's a
my
lot.
job stuff is. And that's not even considering taking in money to grow and work our business.
Okay, so you're live every day. What is the
I'm alive most days, yeah.
What is the worst thing that's happened while you're live?
Someone, it didn't happen here. Actually, it did happen here once. But I was doing a live remote in San Angelo. And for some reason, my boss at the time goes, hey, interview these girls that dance on the bar. I was like, why? And he goes, well, the Grams is a sponsor. So, like, interview the girls real quick. And I was like, I can't imagine they have anything interesting to say about this event. Because we were doing some, it was a rodeo thing. And I was like, they have nothing to put in here. But I'm like, whatever, it's my job. So I was like, you guys having fun? You ready to have a party tonight? And they go, yeah. Girl at the end goes, F yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah. Bummer.
and the correct thing to do is to ignore it and move on. You don't draw attention to it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not do that. I go, watch your mouth. And she goes, what? I was like, you can't say that. And I had two
you're
opportunities to walk away from this. I'm live on the radio. I was like, you can't say that on the radio. We're live. And she goes, oh, my bad. Like she didn't care. And I got so mad. And I just turned and walked away. And I told my boss, the girl you made me interview just dropped an F-bomb on the radio. He goes, I'm sure it's fine. And we got a lady called and complained. Thankfully, it never went any further than that. But, if the FCC had gotten a hold of that, could have been much worse. That's a $10,000 fine we didn't have the money for.
$10,000 for one F-bomb?
$10,000.
They have to be able to prove it and all that other stuff. But, yeah.
I'm so glad we're not live.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're also not on the radio. You can curse on this podcast, theoretically, if you wanted to. I'm keeping it clean because no one else has dropped bombs.
Everyone needs a fun segment. Do you have a fun segment?
I have several.
Yeah.
Thanks
I
for
thought
listening.
You do.
It's great interview preparation you've done for this.
We've already told him we don't like country, so I mean, like, you should have been able to figure out that.
But here's my my talk back on that is that red dirt being what it is, it's such a big umbrella. There's something you like in there. I promise you.
I doubt it.
He promises you.
I promise. What do you listen to?
Cocoa melon.
Cocoa melon.
I don't know what that is.
I'm
Is
thankful
that?
that you know.
It sounds like you made a drink and you.
It's a baby show because she has babies.
Anyways,
Why do they
really
get? Why are they in
don't-
charge of what you listen
Yeah,
to?
I really am not a music person.
Okay.
So there's that.
You seem fun.
sad
Okay,
imp-
that makes me question everything.
I know. It's
About
I've
you.
Never, when I'm in the car, I drive in silence. It's never been
Did
like
you
I've
know?
never been like, let's put on the radio.
Is that because the kids are screaming all of the time? I don't know how many kids you
Even
have or
when
what
I
they
was
do. but
16 years
She's
old,
like 14 kids.
I
14 kids.
pretty much.
Last one just like knocked on the door and walked out.
That's I don't know. It's just I've never been a music person. So marrying Jared, and he was a DJ for so long, I'm like, okay, this is new. And it is fun. I love being in the culture of music because I feel like it truly is, because I have never done life that way.
I've never met anyone who has ever said that.
I appreciate driving in silence for a while. A lot of my job is music, and so it's a lot of it can be a lot of noise all the time. So every once in a while, I definitely appreciate it. I drove 7 hours once just in silence, just trying to get my brain back together.
Yeah.
But to not have, like, what at a club, are you the person going up there and being like, could you turn this down? I have an audiobook I'd really love you to play.
I'm not an audiobook girl either.
What do you like? What do you like? Like what
should ask
makes
her-
you go? What makes you say this is good?
You should ask her what she doesn't like.
That list is long. I think the reason I don't listen to music or audiobooks or anything is I'm going 24/7. I'm constantly a mother. I'm constantly a business owner. I'm constantly a wife. And it's like the one time I have for myself to think about, like, what even happened today? Like, I need time to decompress, to figure out, like, man, there's a lot going on in my head and in my life all the time. So that's my quiet time to figure out, what am I doing as a person? How do I recharge and go again? Because in 10 minutes, I'm going to need to be on. And so I just don't like.
I realized she was talking about mental health about a minute ago, and I was like, oh, just zone out for a few. She'll give you the.
No.
I'm playing. I was joking. What do you listen to?
Wait, guess. Guess first.
Yeah, you should guess. Most people already know, and which is weird.
I don't even know what that is.
Exclusively that.
Exclusively mouth noise music. It's just guys setting beats
Mongolian throat
from 1987 in New York.
Specifically.
It's old tracks of guys.
What does she look like?
What does she look? She's from New Mexico. She's all of 3'7", if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You're close.
I'm gonna go with there's some Taylor Swift somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. Yeah. I'm not a Swiftie, but
He said cumbia. Is that right?
I wouldn't listen to what he says.
No. It's got to be just like random pop
you're kind of right.
or folk music.
I do like folk. I
Yeah.
like pop punk mostly.
Pop punk. Okay.
Alternative.
I didn't see you as a Ramones kind of person, but that's pop punk, right?
I think it's more punk.
Is that just more punk?
I don't know.
I don't really listen to punk. It's more pop punk.
Modern pop punk.
Okay.
Yeah, like All Time Low, Band Camino, other bands that nobody knows.
Sure. That's
It
great.
impresses me. Everyone's music knowledge and music choices make me laugh. He is so vastly different than everyone here so far in what he likes and listens to. And then so are you. So it's
Everyone
just
else here
fun.
likes EDM.
EDM.
I do like EDM.
I like EDM.
Like to
It's just not my
dance.
top.
I feel like you guys are bad for music.
Probably.
No,
is
explain
why- I love
me out
music.
here. Or hear me out here. EDM is a guy. There was that TikTok that went viral, or a girl. Sorry if that was where you raised your hand. It's all pre-produced. There's nothing being done on site. What is the person doing? The girl goes, "What does a DJ even do?" Is correct. They're doing nothing. They're coming in with a USB stick, and that's their plan. That's their art, is that they've had 4 years to work on this song. Congratulations. You're not having to play it live. There's nothing that can go wrong. There's no ability to work on the fly. There's nothing that's crowd interactive about it except when's the beat going to drop or the bass drop, whatever the heck you guys say on that. It's music for talentless people.
My brother.
I realize that's harsh. I'm staying with it.
I need to tell you something.
Please tell me your brother.
My brother
Is
is
an EDM
an
DJ.
EDM music producer.
Okay. How's he doing at it?
Pretty good.
Yeah? Has he got a loyal following?
Yeah.
He's got a SoundCloud?
He
No, okay.
made it. Because he lives in LA.
He lives in
He
LA.
made the intro song.
He actually did
He
make,
did
our,
make
intro
our intro song.
podcast
It sounded
song.
great though. They played it for me before I walked in here.
You're so nice.
I think we're done.
No. Listen,
I'm going home.
I have my opinions, and they're just as valid as a
Listen,
dog's.
My
It means
opinions
nothing.
are that country music is.
Okay, so you know what? I perfectly
We'll see
agree
you
with
at
you
Flatland.
that country music can feel not great. But the problem is you're not hearing country music the way I'm hearing country music.
Fair.
You're hearing the Nashville version of country music that comes out with guys I won't name, but it's basically redneck pop is what I
So
would
maybe
more
you're
classify
hearing
that.
the TikTok version of EDM.
You know, it's possible. I just know I'm not interested in it. Like you see the crowds at that whole thing. It doesn't seem like a good time to me. You know what I mean? Like nothing about an EDM party that they show seems fun.
You're burning, I don't know how many calories because you're just constantly just
It's fun.
moving
Then
24/7.
call it jazzercise because that's what it is.
Jazzercise.
On-
It's a
Steroids.
version of jazzercise. Yeah,
Fair.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exercise dance music, is that what it is?
Oh.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, electronic.
Electronic.
See?
She believed you.
I
It was
don't
so
know.
good.
I don't know.
She believed me for a
But
second.
Let's talk about what we just talked about and how I know nothing about music. So
Yeah.
it's, you guys could
that's true.
convince me of anything and I would just go with it.
Ooh. Okay, we have been so off topic for like an hour.
What has surprised you the most in all your years of doing
Like today
this?
or all the years?
Well, all the years first and then we'll talk about
Like
today.
career wise, I assume you're not talking about when a spider like was on my
Right.
head while I was sleeping.
Yeah. Oh, sounds awful.
Yeah, it's.
How big was it?
I don't know. It was that you ever have that moment where you squash a bug and you don't really realize there's a bug, but there's something there that you squashed, and that was how I did that. Like I was like, oh, something just died. That was it. The scariest thing that's happened to me. Oh, I know. I was on stage actually out here. It was a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I was going to be introing both the bands, and I got up there and I had a bunch of stuff I had to say before I introed the mid band, and once I got that stuff through, I was like, y'all ready to make some noise? You know, there's 10,000 people in front of me. And at that moment, I realized I do not remember the guy's name. I cannot remember the name of this person who I'm supposed to shout very loudly in a second. Like it's escaped me. You ever been in that moment where, like, I know the guy's name. I've said his name 5,000 times on the radio doing song intros, everything. And I cannot remember his name. And the first name pops into my head. This is all like, there's 3 or 4 seconds of like weird amount of time. Like, y'all ready to have some fun tonight? Make some noise. Y'all make some noise for Randy. It was supposed to be Randy Hauser, and I forgot his name in that moment. I've said his name 5,000 times. A friend of mine wrote a song for him that almost went to #1. I could not remember his name in the life of me. That's the most scared I've ever been. I walk off, and you ever do something embarrassing or have a moment, and the heat comes right
to your face.
Yes, that happened, and it was a lot worse in my head than it was to everybody else.
Did anyone notice?
At least one person did, because one of my best friends comes up to me afterwards and go, "Forget his name?" I was like, "Yep,
Oh no.
yep, I did."
That's the worst.
That was my scariest.
You're gonna start
was-
writing them on your hand.
I probably should. There was just so much I was trying to cover because there was a
Yeah.
bunch of concerts coming up that I wanted to sell, and I'm a professional, and I make sure that I don't, especially for shows like that, I go into them. I don't lube up
You
or
have your
anything.
facts.
I don't drink. I don't do shots or anything else like that before. I take that really seriously, that I'm there to represent my station. I'm there to represent the venue and everything else. So I come into that with a lot of seriousness, trying to make sure I do my job correctly. And so when you screw up and you don't even get to blame it on like, I was drunk, sorry, or something like that, that hurts a little worse, but it also feels better than like, at least I wasn't drunk.
Right.
Imagine how bad it could have been or something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Saying the complete wrong name.
Yeah. The complete wrong name would have been I did the complete wrong name once.
Have you?
Yeah.
But it's okay.
It was, do you guys know a band named Stained?
No.
It's been a while.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
so their lead
Still
singer
no.
was coming through, and they had pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. Yeah, they had pushed me and pushed me to the point like they kept pushing back the time, which is not really professional. But they just kept pushing back, and then their guy told me they didn't want me to mention any of the opening acts that had done anything. So they don't mention any of them. They're fine. I was like, okay, I'm going to mention them because they went out there. I feel like people might want to know what their names are if they didn't catch them before. So I go out there. Finally, they at one moment they're just like, go. I'd been waiting there for 40 minutes. They kept pushing time, and they just go like, go. And so I run out there, and I knew the other two bands that had opened for them, so they were friends. And then I go to say Aaron's, and I forgot his name, but I think I said like Aaron Simpson or something like that. And I walk off just oblivious to the world that this is a problem. And I go, and I'm actually working my buddy's fireworks stand at the time. So I'd come over, done this, and I'm going back to the fireworks stand to help sell fireworks because it's his family business, and I try and help out. And I'm sitting there waiting for people to show up, and some lady comes over after the show's done. I was like, hey, how was the show? She was like, did you say Aaron Simpson? I was like, I did. I did. Oh, that just ruined my night.
Oh, no.
So I walk around with that cringe every day.
Hey, but the people that were there will remember that, and
You've just now
it
fixed
makes
it.
things more
On the
interesting.
podcast.
Yeah, I don't know if it
Right?
made it more interesting. It
They
just
would
made
have
me look
never
less
cared.
professional. One of the two happened.
No, you still have a job.
Yeah.
I love it when stuff like that happens.
Yeah.
It shows that you're a real person, which is the whole point again of this podcast, is we want to see the people behind the business.
Right.
And know that like while we have to put on a front and we have to be professional, this has been way more fun. I'm not trying to sell you my services. You're not trying to get me to like
Right.
your music. We're just talking to each other, and that's the point. And I think so many people forget that business owners, business managers, whatever you are, if you're high up in a career, you're the most unliked person for the most part, and it's sad. And we are just real people.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your experiences and everything that you did share, and showing us that we've got hearts,
Yeah. We do.
even though others don't think we do.
An old boss told me one time, he goes, when you're on the radio, you're the president of the company. You're the most important person. You're the face of that. And I take that in all walks of my career. Whenever I'm the person someone's meeting, you're the president of the company. That's the representation you put out there. So I try and make sure that's a positive influence. And you got to keep moving it on down the road.
You do great. And we're held to higher standards, which is fine. Again, I love that not everyone can do what you're doing. Not everyone can do that and be successful and do it for as long as you're doing. So congrats to you
Thanks.
on this many years of being in the same career, and just it's been fun getting to know you, and I cannot wait to support you and see what else and where else we run into you in the future too.
Maybe I'll
Yeah.
figure out
Flatland,
how
for
to
sure.
how to turn on the radio.
Yeah, just
We'll
dial it
figure
to the right one. You'll be all right.
I'll get there. Okay, I have one last question.
Yeah.
So we talked about your whole journey and all of your ups and downs of all of the things, and you have stuck through it from being homeless and all of the hardships. And so what do you think? I guess I have two questions. One, what is one thing that you would never compromise on in business?
In business or in my well, that's kind of a big question, because in my stuff there's a lot of the side of the music stuff, there's the side of the business side of things. As far as the music goes, not letting anybody tell me what my vision is, and trying to. There's a lot of people who have an idea for what you should be, and only you can really tell yourself what you are. And it's really easy to be dissuaded from that. The amount of times you step off that path because someone else has an idea of what they think you should do, it can be very beneficial in certain situations. But I came into this station knowing what I thought it could do, and so far that's worked out. So, but the problem with that is you also got to make sure you're working and living that life 24/7. You know, you got to be the be all end all for the whole thing. If you're not answering the phone at midnight for your dream, I don't know why you would expect anybody else to answer that phone.
That was great. I forgot my other question.
That was a really good response. And just
what was my other question? Oh, my other one was, what do you wish you knew when you first started all of this that you know now?
Way back in 2004, I would have probably loved to have bet on the housing crisis. That would have been great. I learned pretty quickly in the business of what I should do. I think I learned too late about the behavior I needed to have 24/7 on what I do. When I first came in, it was what I did on the air was to benefit my private life, and like I got to be the little cool star guy. Every radio personality, in my opinion, needs a fall at some point. Because you build yourself up pretty good. You think you're hot stuff or whatever. Realize you're talking to a small amount of people who happen to be listening to that thing at that moment and decide to stick with you. You can fool yourself into thinking all that stuff. But you only really learn through the negative effect of it, but learn how to do more than one thing good. And also your behavior 24/7 affects your outcome. My behavior at that point, very early on in my career, was affecting my work, and I just didn't know it until later. How my bosses saw me, how the listeners saw me. I don't want to be seen as just a professional. I don't want to just be seen as a drunk. I don't want to just be seen as the guy who gets up and shouts on stage. There is a weird meld of I enjoy having my time out with my friends and drinking and having a great time. I enjoy my job, and I absolutely get pleasure from watching my dream come to focus a little bit more every day. And the opportunity I have to combine those two on stage and be the professional or be the person who's hyping up a crowd of 10,000 people at one time to welcome on possibly their favorite artist and have one of the best nights they have each year. That's the reward for being able to do all of these things. And believe it or not, I realize I don't want to be seen as a drunk, obviously, but the amount of networking and stuff that has to happen with clients and artists and everything else that go into that, it's a weird part of the job, but it is part of the job.
Yeah.
And so some people mistake me going out to the bar as, oh, JR out getting drunk again. That's work, and I write those things off.
Yeah.
I said, I'm working.
That's probably not as good as if you're not willing to wake up at midnight and answer the phone for your dream. But
it's second close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got.
We won't take up any more of your time.
I appreciate you guys having me. It's been fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be the part 2 of the first part or whatever.
Yeah.
And great opening
1A.
song, by the way. Just blew me away.
Well, I think
I was
now
just jamming to the words on that thing. Singing along.
I'm just gonna pretend that you're not saying that. I think now's the time for your sales pitch.
My sales pitch?
Yes. Where can everyone listen
So my main job is, of course, running the Red Dirt Rebel. We have an app available in the App Store, Play Store. Just type in the Red Dirt Rebel. You'll find us. Be able to take Red Dirt music with you wherever you go. We're on the Alexa device online at thereddirtrebel.com. 1077 in Lubbock, Texas. And that's a pretty big deal. We got to a new, bigger stick, and we just got new ownership.
Wow.
And so at this moment, we're talking about it. I'm working through all of that
happening
issues,
right
but
now.
yeah. Kind of a big deal.
Wow. That's really exciting.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Stay Focused podcast. You can find us on YouTube or anywhere where you listen to podcasts. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at stayfocused.creative, and remember that your story matters, so stay focused.